I'd like to talk about some tips that I found for gluing up boards. This right here is some 3/4 inch oak. It's got 2 layers of 3/4 inch oak that are glued together, and I needed some rail pieces to go on the side of a cabinet. And the question is, well, how do you make these things dimensionally exact with your glue up? Because what you'll find, or what I've found a lot of times, is that when you're gluing 2 pieces of wood together, you can press on them and try to push them together, but the glue will make them move ever so slightly. It's almost like a glacial movement or something like that. So the question is, well, how do you glue things up so that you can then get a finished piece? Well, there's several steps to doing that, and I'll show you how I found out how to do it, and you might find it helpful too. As you can see, that I have one of these layout tables with the holes in it. It's for the bench dogs and stuff. You can put all kinds of clamps and fixtures in this. This is a Kreg table, which is really a nice table. I really use it a lot. And so let's see how we do a glue up. I need to make some 3.5 inch or 3 inch boards. And so what I do is, you need to take a board that's wider than what you actually need. This is 3.5. I'm going to be cutting this down to 3, and I want to make this in 2 layers. And so what you have to do is you have to put one board a little bit wider than the other board, and then what you do is you glue them up, and they're going to move a little bit on you. But what you do after you glue them up and they take a set is you use the straight edge here to then cut on your table saw the straight edge along here, and then you flip it and you use the straight edge that you've now created here as a guide to cut your final dimension. So I'll show you how we do that. First, what you do is you take some of your bench dog stop pieces and put them on your table, and then you have to have a stop block, piece of wood like that you're then going to rest your pieces up against, and that keeps them dimensionally pretty much on true. And what you do is you'll lay your glue down, and then you'll put your board on here like this, and then you'll glue it. But if you just glue it like this, things are going to move on you. So what you have to do after you set that board is go ahead and clamp your hold piece tight against your deck, and you push this up against the side, and then you take these handy little Kreg, I don't know what you call them, pushers or something like that. I've tried all kinds, but as you can see, these, if you move this out like this, this rotates and this fits in the hole, and that'll press this board up flush against this board, pretty much, not exactly flush. That's why you have to do your trim. You just fixture it there and twist that down, and then we'll fixture on the other side over here and twist this down. And you got to be careful, or just know that when you do this kind of work, these kinds of pressing here will sometimes cause the board to flip up a little bit. So, but what you do is you clamp down, and that'll bring this into alignment. But now that sets this up against your board, your push board here. So now what we do is we're going to go ahead and put our glue on their system. We use this Titebond green, which is a good glue. It takes a little bit longer to dry. It gives you a little bit of flexibility in moving your parts around if you need to get them fixtured. So we'll go ahead and put the glue on. What I do is I run my glue lines to begin with like this, and then I have this handy tool that I got from, I think it was Rockler or somebody like that. This is silicone, and what you can do is you can spread your glue out and make yourself a nice, kind of even, thin glue layer. After a while, you'll get to know how much glue you can add on before it goops all over the place. Looks like I have a little too much glue on here, so you can just go like this and then spread out the rest. And it'll goop onto your other boards, but you're going to be cutting those off to trim them. But you want to have a good solid glue line interface, and not too much, because then it'll slide quite a bit. You'll get the hang of it. Looks like we might have a little too much here. And then what we do is we flip this over. You can see we have some glue here. We'll just go ahead and remove that with the hand. You set that up. I'm going to set it the other way because the boards are just, well, that seems to fit a little bit better. That seems to fit a little bit better up against there. So now what we do is we take some other clamps or some other pushers. I got these from Veritas, which are really nice. And you can use them to push your board up against here. And then of course what you do is, woodworkers, we can never have, enough clamps. Got to move my table a little bit here. There you go. Let's take a clamp there. Get yourself a clamp at the end. These are PowerTech clamps. I got them off Amazon. They're really nice clamps. And you just clamp the snot out of it. Those are fixtured up. Those are fixtured up, pushing it against there, and you clamp it. So as you can see, this large piece here, I got this from Lowe's, as a matter of fact. This is a 3-inch or 2.5 by 2.5 inch birch block that's ready made. It costs about $35. It's really nice. You can make them yourself by gluing things up, but I just went ahead and bought these because they look like they'd be nice. That forms a nice stable surface to push against. And then as you can see, we got the lower piece here pressed up against the wood blocking piece, and then we have this piece here pressed up against the edge too. Now you can see it might not be pressed up exactly what you need, but that's okay. There's going to be a little bit of